Welcome to the SA Update. I'm Mike Schuster, your host, and today I'm joined by Jaden Butler, who is our Director of Insurance Services. And today Jaden and I are going to talk a little bit about insurance policies or different things that people have had in the past. But welcome to the podcast, Jaden, and let's start off with talk about you and your family a little bit.
Yeah,
Give
great.
some background.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me. So I am originally from Grand Island. I moved out to Hastings when I went to college. I went to Hastings College, met my wife there. Since then, we've bought our first home in Hastings and have had two kids. One's a 3-year-old and the other one's 1. So it's definitely an eventful household. But they are, the best thing in life, and it's a neat thing being a dad.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure you get plenty of sleep at night with a 3-year-old and 1-year-old. So.
Oh yeah. Some nights we get some sleep, and some nights maybe not so much.
Yeah.
So
today, Jane, you're a CLU. Talk about that. I mean, one of the things that we think is important at Schuster Anderson, and a lot of firms do this too, is designation. So talk about your CLU designation. Tell the viewers about it and what that stands for, and what you had to do for that. So
my CLU designation was actually kind of like a passion project for me. I kind of grew up around the insurance industry, specifically life insurance, and it kind of struck a chord with me that there's a lot of agents out there. It's a high turnover field, and I felt that I wanted to have more knowledge so that I could better serve my clients, because there's a lot of insurance policies out there. So I studied, I got one designation, which is a chartered financial consultant. So that was my first designation. And I took a course every 10 weeks. That was an 8-course designation, got that done. And then I went on and did 3 more courses to get my CLU designation. So all in all, it took about 2.5, 3 years to get both of those designations. And I'm definitely happy I took the time to do that.
Absolutely. That CLU designation being the Chartered Life Underwriter, which is definitely a detailed examination. So definitely a good thing that you've done that. So Jaden, let's start with the first question. And we get this a lot, and that's why this has been a podcast we've talked about doing for a long time. Talk about people that you talk to that come into the office that have not looked at their insurance policies in a long time, and their current fit based upon when it was sold. Just talk in general about that.
Yeah, so I think that a lot of people, the first thing I want to say is you are not alone if you haven't looked at your policies. I would say it's hard to put a majority, because I haven't spoke to everybody in the world, but I would say the majority of people I've worked with have not reviewed their policies, and a lot of it boils down to they're confusing products. Insurance companies are a confusing business in nature, and insurance products are just they're plain complicated. So if you don't have somebody who has a background in life insurance, it's really difficult to get honest and quality advice. So I think part of it is there's honestly not enough fiduciaries that know enough about insurance to really provide a good review for a client.
Yeah, so let's go there and let's talk about that. Let's talk about fit, because a lot of times in the industry, people are sold a product and not advised on the product, and there's some at times bad actors, to be honestly. I mean, because this can be a heap commission type product. Talk about that a little bit, about advising someone versus selling someone.
Yeah. So I this is definitely a pain point for me when it comes to life insurance, and it was really one of the catalysts for me getting the designation, because I felt like, for me, being an advisor, just to back up there, it's about helping people. It's about educating. When I first, went to college, I wanted to be a teacher. And so, being able to go out there and educate people is a big passion for me. And then when I found life insurance, it's a high turnover field. And what happens when people have turnover?
Yeah.
They need money, right? And so we get a lot of these people, I think, that are just, they need money, and it's hard to be a fiduciary when you're trying to feed your family.
And sometimes too, and you would agree too, that evolution happens, and people's families grow, or their needs change. And if they weren't properly fit for that policy, it becomes an issue. So the biggest question that we see, and why you and I decided to do this podcast today, is a lot of times people are ghosted by the people that sold them that policy. Give the viewers some advice on what they can do if they're ghosted on their insurance and the agent doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if you're ghosted on a policy and the agent doesn't exist, again, you're not alone. That happens quite a lot. Find a good advisor. Find somebody who's a fiduciary. The fiduciary is a key thing. Somebody that has your interest at heart before any sort of product or commission comes to their mind. It's difficult. You need to do some vetting and find the right advisor. But obviously, we believe we do that. But it's a tough area. You need an insurance analysis is what it boils down to. And it kind of goes back to what you're saying, where how often do you review your policies? Right? There might have been, and it might not have been that somebody sold you a product that wasn't a good product. It might have been a good fit at that time. But like you mentioned, families grow, people change businesses, things change, your needs change. And if you're not auditing those, frequently enough, you might have a product that no longer fits your needs.
Yep.
So
and that's great advice, because customization is really big when it comes to insurance, especially life insurance too. The last question I'll talk about is, there's a lot of people out there that are oversold annuities. Talk a little bit about appropriate fit for annuities in your mind, Jaden.
Yeah, annuities is the next level beast in my mind when it comes to insurance products. It's again that kind of it was interesting. So life insurance was the reason I got the CLU. I got it. I started learning more about insurance companies, and then annuities kind of hit my plate heavy at a certain point in my career, and it's like taking it just takes it to the next level of confusion. Honestly, most people, when they look at an annuity, they don't truly understand what they're being sold. And when I use those terms, I'm using them on purpose. It is sold a lot of times. There is a need for annuities, period, to be available. Not every person needs an annuity, and annuities are different in nature. They have so many different benefits to them. What I've found is a lot of individuals have annuities that may have either been rightfully or wrongfully sold, right? With these different benefits intact for either income or death benefit, where they just plain don't need them anymore. But the problem with those products is you pay for those benefits whether you use them or not.
That's right.
So it's again, it goes back to find a good fiduciary that cares about you and wants to do what's best for you as far as providing advice, and audit those policies.
Yeah, that's great advice, Jaden, and I really appreciate you joining us today on the podcast. If you have any questions about any annuities or any life insurance you have out there, feel free to give us a call anytime. And for the SA Update, I'm Mike Schuster, and thank you, Jaden, again for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yep.